Welcome in, welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon. We are live here on a Sunday night, almost said Monday night, getting ready to talk some college football, a crazy wild week number 5. Will Manis and Ralph Leary are going to be joining me as we try to navigate who's even good in college football. That's the big narrative. What is pass interference? What is targeting? All that and more on tonight's episode. We'll catch you here in about 30 seconds or so.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The crowded booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
All right, well, welcome in, fellas. We get ready to talk some college football here on a Sunday evening. For some reason, I was under the impression it was Monday, probably because I slept till 12 o'clock today after traversing down I-55. So
let's add one more question to your list. What is offense? Because I don't have any idea.
Listen, I'm right there with you, buddy. So yeah, what is offense? We can. Will and I are going to do a 2-hour-long episode on Wednesday talking about what even is offense. So no, I'm just kidding. We're not doing that. But is Auburn on a bye week this week?
Yes.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. LSU is as well. Yeah.
Maybe they can 3 hours of my Saturday.
Maybe Auburn and LSU can combine forces and they could find an offense. Because defensively, both sides are like, okay.
Well, you need a quarterback for one team. So who are you choosing here?
Nussmeier. He'll actually throw the ball.
Can he throw it down the field?
It might be short. Well, Arnold won't throw it at all.
I think you say Arnold have the running quarterback at this point. Just run the ball.
Just run the ball.
Something LSU can't do.
Auburn is allergic to running the ball.
Well, LSU can't run the ball, and Auburn refuses to run the ball. So you find you're in between somewhere in there.
Hey, we got to be committed to the run if we want to win games. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
By the person calling the plays.
Yeah. You see that?
Well,
what about the other two?
He's definitely calling the plays.
Welcome in. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Sunday evening. Different camera angle for me, by the way, on this one.
Wild stream for you today.
Yeah, wild streaming habits today. I had to switch over to Mozilla Firefox over the weekend. No longer a Google Chrome user. And shout out iOS 26. Safari.
No DuckDuckGo?
Sorry, Mom. Can't do that. Yeah, no DuckDuckGo for me. But yeah, no, I had to. This is what my Saturday consisted of, by the way. So we get to Ole Miss, and we're in the press box or whatever, and I'm trying to switch everything, my login stuff from Google Chrome to Safari. And so like the big ones I need, like my On3 login, Twitter, all this stuff. And then I get halfway through it, and they're like, well, yeah, we don't support StreamYard. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do all of this through this, which I think you had said before. Safari does not support StreamYard, which
it is
we love StreamYard. It's ridiculous. So that happened. And then we sat here and I was like, well, what should I use? And my coworker was like, hey, look, dude, I use Firefox because it's never given me in trouble. And I'm not like a Google atmosphere person. What do they call it? The Google, what I'm talking about? People are like, are you an Apple person? Yeah, Google Suites. Yeah. I don't use all that. I was like, oh, okay. So he doesn't use Google Drive, I don't think. Well, anyways, you can use it on there. It's been fun. But that being said, just a lot happening. So, and in between that, I got to watch a shell of a quarterback play football. And just, I'll say this to start off. Last week, I guess it was me and you, Will, we talked about maybe all three of us, I don't remember, about the SEC. No, it was just us two on Tuesday night. Yeah, the schedules, yeah. So glad that the LSU Ole Miss is just that was kept. I mean, that is just my 3 years covering LSU have probably been 3 of the best games I've ever seen, just in terms of what we've had there. So it was just a lot of fun. Both fan bases are crazy. I
think most people would consider Ole Miss LSU's biggest rival.
Not Brandon Walker.
He's a Mississippi State fan.
You think? Well, I'm saying you don't think Mississippi State's a bigger rival?
I said LSU.
Oh, yeah. It's just Magnolia Bowl. It's a trophy game. So if you get into trophy games, is that bigger than Arkansas? We'll talk about Arkansas.
That's a trophy game.
That's I'm nervous about the Bobby Petrino interim bump. I'll tell you that. That's what I'm nervous about. But lots happened in the college football landscape this weekend. We're gonna dive into it. Will, you reacted to Auburn's just, dude? I'll rewatch that game today, or I'll watch that game today. That, oh my gosh. A lot of former players speaking out, by the way. Chandler Wooten, who was very vocal on social media about kind of what was going on. Real quick, what are your thoughts on that? Like when you see players really start to react to stuff like that? Publicly, I guess.
Well, there's some ex-players in the Auburn Twitter sphere that are not supportive and do not love the Auburn Tigers. I think Chandler Wooten, Chad Slade, Anthony Schwartz, I think those three are three that love the Auburn Tigers and want Auburn to beat nationally as they did when they were playing. So Chad Slade, he is publicly petitioning to be the next offensive line coach, and I'd say go hire him. Sight unseen. Does he have any experience? Don't know. Don't care. Hire him.
Ralph, what did Troy do this weekend?
They sat on the couch and watched everyone collapse offensively this week. It's a big week this week, though. They watched their bitter rival get smoked by the Mean Green, who they get to play this weekend, by the way. Not the Mean Green. They get to play big rivalry game this weekend down in Troy.
Don't care. The over didn't hit.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Look, Jake said it too. How about the North Texas Mean Green? They're great. They're great.
They are really good.
They're fun
and their former
watch.
quarterback had a big game on Friday night, which we'll talk about.
Can John Cohen call Eric Morris?
Not if Oklahoma State calls him first.
Well, Auburn doesn't have an opening, so nobody's getting called.
Doesn't seem to be a problem in Gainesville with the way they talk about that job. So. Well, all right, let's talk and dive in here. Appreciate everyone tuning in and lock it in, like, subscribe, all those great things. Continue to support the show. Let's start with kind of the reactions of the weekend, Ralph. I don't think I told you to put this banner on here, and I'm sorry if I didn't.
I'll put it. I'll make a quick one.
Friday night, the Friday night game, Florida State, Virginia. Fellas, this was one where Florida State entered by our friends over at FanDuel at a 6.5-point favorite. I was tempted to lay those points. You kind of thinking, all right, it is what it is, in terms of, Gus Malzahn has his guy at quarterback. Will, you were kind of, excited about, what he could do with Castellanos in the preseason. You get the big game against Alabama. Then they kind of play a bunch of nobodies. East Texas A&M, the richest school in America, probably after playing A&M and Florida State this year. But, you enter a situation where I saw a lot of people saying this, and a lot of Auburn fans kind of poking jabs, and maybe even UCF fans or whoever, like, this is what happens. Right, like this is the Gus Malzahn experience.
Okay, but why is he getting blamed?
I don't know what that means. So
why is he getting blamed? He's not the head coach. They scored 30, 40 points. Why is it his fault?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What does that mean? What is the Gus Malzahn experience? I'm
low hanging fruit, morons, casuals. They don't really watch the games. Okay. Those are the people. Oh, the Gus Malzahn experience, and it's mostly salty UCF fans from what I saw on Twitter. They're salty, and rightfully so, because they were very high on Gus. So was I. Said he was going to put UCF in the playoff, and my gosh, could they have been further away from the playoffs?
Okay.
But yeah, it's don't be talking about my mans. Don't be talking about my mans now.
Get that on the crowded booth. Make sure you do that. The biggest thing coming out of this,
get a shirt.
Can we talk about the field storming?
That was
first
awesome.
off.
Well,
It's awesome. Squirrel White might still be somewhere on the field.
Well, they did say that he got off the field, walked by himself to his sideline.
When did that happen?
When the initial crowd got over top of him. Now, my thing is, everyone loves the storm.
Oh, not everybody. I learned not everybody loves.
Some people don't love them, but yeah.
I'll say this: a lot of people like when the fans storm the field. It's fun. We get to see some cool environments, but I've always said we've got to have someone to go out there and protect those players who are on the other opposing team because fans are crazy. We've seen some insane things happen when fans storm the field. You go
We
back
got
to,
folks running down opposing teams' quarterbacks.
well, that one for one. One of them
That was
watches the
insane.
show occasionally.
Yeah.
But like you go back to when Alabama loses to Tennessee at home at Tennessee, and I can't think of his name now. The receiver for Alabama, ends up
Jermaine Burton.
Jermaine Burton had an altercation with a woman on the field.
Domestic offender.
Yeah, well, he said that was in protection of himself. We'll let those cars play out the way they did. But in situations like that, you see an assistant run up to the field immediately, go get Thomas Castellanos and just kind of shield him from everybody else, and it's smart. Get the guy who's your playmaker on the field protection instantly, because in those situations you don't know what those fans are capable of doing. Not saying anyone's crazy enough to do anything, but something could happen.
Yeah.
You know how you prevent that?
Don't let them sort of field. Don't
Win a game that you're
Don't
supposed
lose.
to win.
Yeah,
Fair.
I'll say this: my few Florida State fans that I know, one I talked to a good bit of. I told them I did not like them playing on a Friday night. I said something about that game just didn't feel right to me. It was a weird situation. Kind of no one really understood why they put on Friday night. No one was really like.
Well, the ACC has a contractual deal. That's why. But to your point, yeah,
but like
it sets up a primetime atmosphere, though.
Well, it does, because it's a Friday night, and most of the time, when you watch Friday night games, it's usually not packed because it's mostly smaller schools playing.
Waiting on that.
That's terrifying.
I was waiting on that.
Auburn upset somebody this year at home. Watch out.
Auburn's not winning another game, so onward.
But still, it's just I don't know. I didn't feel right about the game going, turning it on. And then, Virginia goes up big. You're like, okay, this is going to get out of hand. And then Florida State stormed right back. And, okay, this is
dude. Gus Malzahn is so terrible. He orchestrated an offensive comeback.
21 unanswered. And, Virginia just made the plays at the end of the game to prevail. That's the best way to explain it. I think Florida State, just did not expect this from them. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, this is not Virginia football. This seems a lot better this year. And you know what? Props to Tony Elliott. He just saved his job for another 2 years, probably.
Well, that's what I said to some casuals who inexplicably begging that we end all field storming. I mean, just say you're a casual. Just say you don't watch college football because you don't understand Virginia football. I mean, they have been
terrible,
bad to irrelevant for a decade, and they just beat a top 10 team. Whether you think Florida State should have been ranked in the top 10 or not, they were. That was the reality. Field storming is awesome. It's always going to be awesome. It's part of the reason why we love college football. It doesn't happen anywhere else. It only happens in college football. I mean, we can't be so worried about player safety. Like I said, win the game. And that was also discussed on ESPN at the halftime show. I guess it was on Saturday. Because Matt Berry trying to name dropping. Probably shouldn't do that. But anyway. Worried about player safety, and we can't worry about that. Just
2019, Dev. They beat Virginia Tech at home at the end of the season and stormed the field. That was the last time Virginia also stormed the field, by the way.
When was the last time they were ranked? And it was in 2019?
They were 9-3.
Jeez. I think when I looked at this game, first off, just a couple of takeaways from it, and we'll dive into some more games here. Chandler Morris, he had 3 interceptions.
We cannot. The game is inherently violent.
We go back to Chandler Morris had 3 interceptions, the 2 that were just, bang, bang in terms of, what Florida State was able to kind of build momentum and get back into that football game. But the guy's a gunslinger, and he's sparked life into Tony Elliott's squad, and that's what you love about the portal if you're a fan of a team. Like, you can lose some players, but you can go get that quick fix. And Virginia seems to have found that as the Cavaliers are in the ACC race. What did you say?
Some teams can't.
Yes. Deuce Robinson is a man, 9 for 147 and a touchdown, by the way. Jamari Taylor, 27. What about Jamari Taylor? The touchdown run he had where he lowered his shoulder into the dude, ran over him, emerged from the pile, and ran for the touchdown, 27 for 99. There's a lot of teams across the country that could talk about running back usage and maybe use their running backs more. 27 carries for Jamari Taylor. Well, I wasn't even talking about Auburn. I'm talking about, I'm not even talking about Auburn in that sense. But like you said, Ralph, Virginia makes, some big plays. Shout out, I do got to give a shout out. Randy Pittman's catch to tie the game. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. That is, he's a dog in EA, by the way, for Kennesaw State for me right now. But also, Randy Pittman's catch was awesome.
Bet awesome. Deuce Robinson, you have to make that catch at the end of the game.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
in your hands. It's inexcusable. There's two other players in the game that played last night that also dropped very easy touchdowns. I don't even think Pittman I don't think Robinson should have dropped that ball. I just kind of said, and fans were saying that he had it going in out of bounds. No, he didn't. He bobbled the ball all the way going out of bounds. It was a clearly not a touchdown from the get go. And I saw on Twitter Florida State got screwed. No, they didn't. You got beat. Just fair and square. You got beat.
Florida State did not get screwed. There is one national media pundit that. Jesus Christ!
Can't wait for him.
It is what it is. We are 17 minutes into this. We haven't even talked about anything in the SEC. We've talked Virginia and Florida State, and Will is irate.
They're just needling, even though they 14-point favorite and they have to go to overtime to beat a team that has a glorified running back playing quarterback.
514 total yards.
I mean, they have a quarterback that's a glorified running back, but they find ways to win games.
Oh.
I'm not answering. I'm not pulling any more comments.
No, it's fine.
I had to do anything. Will, I look, and I should have told Will this last night, and I think I meant since this morning. They're going to try to troll today, but it's everything Will says coming true, and it's just truth. And I'm kind of with Will on this side. Is that I'm tired of it for him because, all year long he was like, "This is what this team's going to do. This is how this team's going to act," and he's been right about it from the get go. So,
hypothetical line of Auburn and Georgia Tech on a neutral field, I would probably set it at Tech minus 17.5.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And they'd win somewhere between 16 to 24 to nothing. Auburn stinks.
I mean, we're not posting this segment of Virginia and Florida State. So, Virginia outlasts. Cavaliers find themselves in the Cavaliers find themselves in the ACC race, at the top of the ACC race. And so, interesting, man. Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Charlotte
Can't wait. God. I'll be rocking me.
Might have
shirt.
37 views. No, I'm just kidding.
They might change the game to 11
It would be crazy to think about. So, TD Jake says bad versus bad. It's just interesting. All right, Virginia outlasts Florida State. Let's go into the next game here. And Ralph, take it where we're going here. We got to go. No, don't go there because that's later. I want to go chronologically. I'm sorry. All right, in Oxford.
You just got done talking about it.
I mean, I talked about this for an hour. I'm just going to give my thoughts, and you guys go from here. This is what I'm going to say about this. Ole Miss is good. Trinidad Chambliss is a really good quarterback. And Lane Kiffin is one of, if not the best offensive mind in college football. I mean, he simplifies things so well for his offense and the play design that it's ridiculous. And Lane Kiffin completely outcoached Brian Kelly in this game. I thought Ole Miss played really well. Pete Golding's defense played well. Ole Miss's weapons stepped up when they needed to. And, overall, they won this game at home. They're 3-0 in the SEC, which is crazy to think about in the first month of the season. So they've got Arkansas, Kentucky, and LSU out of the way. And look, here's another opportunity for Ole Miss to reach that playoff, which they've put themselves in a good position to go to. So hats off to Lane Kiffin. Hats off to Ole Miss. This was a really good win for them. Defense showed up. The second part of this, I will say, is LSU's in trouble. LSU does not have a quarterback that can throw the football more than 25 yards, at least starting for them right now. Ralph said I just got done talking about this, did a live show with our Bengal Tiger YouTube channel for On 3.
Shout out.
This is for me, I mean, I thought, LSU's defense did all they could. You're on the field for 50 plays in the first half, 45-plus plays in the first half. I don't know what you expect them to do, in my opinion. Like, I don't know what you want them to do in the second half. Brian Kelly's telling the media that they weren't tired in the second half. That's not true. Like, that there was the fact there was no fatigue. Like, yeah, there's fatigue. That's what the whole concept of Ole Miss's offense is and Tennessee's offense. Hey, if we can gas them in the first half, it's going to pay off in the second half. That's what Ole Miss did. There were some leaks, there were some cracks in LSU's defense. So I thought they did a great job with that. Another thing I'm going to hit on here, LSU offensively has a massive, massive problem. The offensive line is terrible. Garrett Nussmeier is either hurt or he's not. The most ridiculous thing coming out of that weekend, and I wrote about it, Garrett Nussmeier says he's not going to talk about his injury situation. Brian Kelly says he's healthy. Okay, so it's the guy that threw for 4,000 yards last year and was not the consensus, but pretty much felt like he was a top 3 quarterback going into the season. He's just not good anymore? Well, how does that happen? How do you regress that badly? So something's either off here, whether it's the injury, whether it's mechanically. That is not the same version. LSU has a problem under center. They've got a problem on the offensive line. They cannot run the ball. I am not going to judge the receiving core because I don't think they have a competent passing game. And so you've placed the onus on this defense for them to play a full 60 minutes. You could do that against anemic offenses like Florida and Clemson. When a team comes at you and they're going to spread you out and they're going to be able to move the ball around on you, you can't hold on for 60 minutes. No defense can. I offered this the other day, or offered this an hour ago, Ralph. You were there. The only defenses you can expect to do that are not generational, but they're once in a decent amount of years. Let's see, 2021 Georgia, 2011 Alabama, 2011 LSU. Well, I'll even give you props, and correct me if I'm wrong. 2017 Auburn had a really, really good defense, I believe that year was. I mean, you're talking about some seriously good defenses. They don't come around that often. So, and just where I'm going with this, I thought Ole Miss played a great game. I said heading into the game, and I didn't get a chance to do the show with you guys on Thursday night, but I would have said this, or Wednesday night. If LSU kept Ole Miss under 25 points, I feel like they had a great chance to win. Ole Miss scored 24. You couldn't get to 20. Play calling is abysmal. Joe Sloan probably will be the scapegoat at the offensive coordinator position this year for Brian Kelly to keep his job. I don't know that LSU, or I know currently the way they are, LSU is not a playoff team. And I think Ole Miss is right now. And so you'll see that reflective in our rankings when they come out tomorrow morning. But that's all I've got to say on this game. I've talked about it ad nauseum for the last 24 hours. But not much I probably didn't cover there. But, Will, we'll start with you in this one. What did you see? And or what do you want to add, I guess, to what I said? Just kind of went on there.
Well, I didn't see anything because I've wasted 4 hours of my life watching Auburn and Texas A&M. But LSU is dead. My prediction is dead. I picked them to win the SEC. It's dead. It's over. Done. LSU will not make the playoff. They're not going to sniff the SEC title game. Like you said, they'll be able to win games against bad offenses because they have no offense. They have nothing.
There's no identity.
They can't run the ball. They ran for 57 yards. Joe the Pilot says it right there that every team that has played Ole Miss had their best rushing day except LSU. It's awful. They're very bad. I think Nuss is hurt. I don't know how else you explain the just arm strength disappearing. Like, I don't know how else you describe that. And, it's a shame. They got a great defense. Blake Baker's a great head coach or defense coordinator.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably be a head coach next year with the great work he's done with LSU, with their defense. But LSU is dead. This is probably a team that they're no longer appointment television, that's for sure.
But they'll get it because they play in Tiger Stadium, and ESPN's got to go down there for the night games. So, yeah, I'm with you. We talked about this. Their remaining road games are starting to look like a gauntlet. They're going to go to Vanderbilt, and I said worst case, Vandy's going to be a one-loss top 20 team with a loss to Alabama, or they're going to be an undefeated top 10 team, which is going to be wild to think about. Then they've got to go to Bama. They've got to go to Oklahoma. I mean, that's brutal to me. So it is. It's interesting. Ralph, any thoughts on this one? Anything I didn't add? I guess.
I mean, I said it on Thursday that they, and I think I've said it every single week going for LSU games. They've got to find a run game. They refuse to. The offensive line is, feeble at this point. Your right tackle was playing to start the game. I think it was Weston Davis.
No, he didn't play at all.
I know. I'm saying I was getting there. He was planning to play. Is not bench. He sits because he's hurt. They put the backup in, which is who again? Off the top of my head?
Carius Kern, who was good.
Had a great game. I thought he played terrific. I thought they, overall the whole team, offensive line pass blocking was pretty solid. I didn't think, Ole Miss was really getting to nuts that much until later in the game. They started bringing three people. It just felt like they couldn't block a three for some reason.
Yeah.
I like Ole Miss though. Trinidad Chambliss is the proven starter for this team. I don't think there should be anyone else at quarterback for the rest of the season. I think Lane got this guy to come in to be his backup at the beginning of the year. He's a proven winner in college football in Division II. Had a great year last year for Ferris State and comes into SEC ball. Everyone kind of questioned can he make that jump, and I can tell you right now he's made the jump.
Oh yeah.
And he's doing a great job. The kid is an unbelievable talent. He won the Division II Heisman last year. It just goes to show you how good this kid really is. And I'll tell you one thing. I saw a lot of pictures and videos of Ole Miss fans flying the Trinidad and Tobago flag out there. They're loving this kid. They love his energy he brings. Look, like you said it really well a minute ago, Lane Kiffin is a great coach. He's a great player. He's probably the best play caller in college football, and he's definitely the best coach on Twitter for sure.
I'm going to go a step further on Lane Kiffin, and I'm going to say, right now, what's today? September 28th?
9:03.
He's the best coach in America. Right now. In this moment, he is the best coach in the country.
At 9:03 on Sunday evening, September 28th or whatever today is. Yeah.
I've said it many times. He has elevated Ole Miss to places they've never been, at least in the modern era. It's been over 60 years since they've done anything remotely close to what he has built at Ole Miss.
I hear you. I don't, dude. You know what? I said last night on Instant Reaction podcast. I said I think it's time for people to stop looking at Ole Miss like a little brother. They've got enough of a data point with him now to where it's like, hey, no, he's here. Like they're here. They've arrived.
It was like you said last week. Why would he go anywhere else? He's built Ole Miss bigger than the Florida program, than the Auburn program. He's built it.
No, dude, Florida's got baseball and softball championships, so why would that matter? No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, dude, I told you that. He gets anything he wants there. And the pressure at Ole Miss, the pressure level at Ole Miss is like, dude, if you have one season where he goes 8-4, it's like, okay. Bro, he's okay, this is gonna be crazy to say. At Ole Miss, I'm not gonna say Nick Saban-esque. He's earned the Dabo Swinney treatment. To where his leash is so – they will not fire him. No. He'd have to have 3 years of sub-7 win seasons. Because the trust factor, the benefit of the doubt is being given to Lane Kiffin. And I said that preseason. I said maybe we should start giving him the benefit of the doubt that he just knows how to evaluate talent in the portal and knows how to make it all work. Because I'm telling you, dude, Ralph mentioned won the D2 Heisman, the Harlan Hill Trophy. He's making this stuff look easy. That's the crazy part about it. Not just Chambliss. Lane Kiffin is making this stuff look easy. And I think, you know what, Will? I was nervous you were going to say it. I think within the concept of what you just said, I don't necessarily – that's a very valid statement. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's crazy. When you talk about what Ole Miss is, because people don't really think about what Ole Miss is.
He didn't take a program that was ready-made and was, one or two pieces away, even a head coach away. He took a program that was at least nationally nothing. I mean, they're respected regionally in the SEC, especially
but
what
nationally they weren't a player.
Right, especially what they've done the last 20 years. I think over the last 20 years, for the most part, they've been really good. But he's – and Dev's in the comments talking about Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart has a huge problem.
You think so?
Yep.
And
he's a guy that took a ready-made program.
You know, they asked Lane last night after the game about Winston Watkins, young receiver for them.
Funny.
They asked about his, ability to kind of start playing more, and he said, yeah, he's great. He's doing great. He's learning to play. And he goes, wait, I shouldn't say that because someone will try to buy him out of the portal next year. He goes, he's terrible. He can't learn the offense. Doesn't want to go to class. Doesn't want to do anything right. It just shows you, he's a very good coach. You saw his reaction on that fourth down play, Bryce, when they just kind of slip it out to Daquan Wright, and his reaction just, he was fired up about it. He just wants to win, and he's gonna show you a lot of emotion when he beats you.
I said the other day, I think he's my favorite coach in college football. You don't ever have to wonder what he's thinking. He's not going to get up and just say something random, like in terms of like he's not going to just BS you. Like you might not like it what he says, but he's very upfront with you about like what is going on. And I think too, this is the biggest part. And I'm not trying to push back against like people watching the show and college football fans here. A lot of people don't like the gatekeeping. But man, at the end of the day, nobody cares what Ole Miss Fan 32 on Twitter says. He cares about what him and those 100-plus people that are in football ops and players, and that's what matters. And you can tell those people love playing for him and they respect him. And like I was on the field after the game, and you could just tell like he was pumped up. Those players were excited. They knew what it meant because there is a little brother thing when it comes. LSU looks down on Ole Miss, right? Like, oh, you're the little brother. Well, now, and I said this in my post-game little take piece that I did last night, Brian Kelly's 2-2 against Ole Miss, 0-2 in Oxford. So at what point is LSU no longer big, bad LSU, and Ole Miss is pretty good? Let's be real here. I know LSU's the only program, am I right in this, that has won 3 national titles since 2000? Outside of Alabama? Or, sorry, has 3 separate head coaches that have won national titles since 2000. I think that is correct.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's awesome, man. Outside of 2019, you've had some really good teams.
Ohio State.
Day, Tressel, Meyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot Meyer.
That's right.
Are we still counting Tressel?
Yeah, dude, count it.
Did they lose that one?
Yeah. But this is by the way, I'll say this. This is a very general statement.
Wow.
No. And from a program perspective, no. From a philosophy standpoint, no. Yeah, from a place in the SEC compared to the Big Ten, sure, they're like maybe a tier 2 team. But
Penn State is it outlandish to say they're 100 times the program that Ole Miss is? Maybe
in
a
terms
little
of how they're set up.
Maybe a little exaggerated. I'm just saying everything.
From a program perspective, I'd take Ole Miss. I'd ride with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss over. And this is maybe the emotional aspect of the reaction. Who cares? I'd ride with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss over probably almost every single team in the country outside of maybe 3 or 4. And that's why they're number 4 in the country right now. So, there you go. Trinidad Chambliss, really, really good football player, though, man. They've got some fun players. They're just good. Shout out Georgia native Caden Lee, really good receiver for them on the outside. And like I said, Will said LSU's dead. We know Will's going through it. Will's going to say a lot of definitive things tonight. And I don't know if they're dead, but they've got to figure something out quick. And the problem is I don't even know if they can figure it out.
Well,
because there's no free agency. So you can't – I don't know what you're going to do.
There's different levels of dead. I mean dead in the sense of basically playing for anything this year. Like I don't think they're not going to make the playoff. If they do, they'll back their way in. They're not playing for the SEC championship.
No.
So, but there's a program that I'm going to torture myself to watch 7 more times that is on life support.
Oh boy.
what did I say, Ralph, on the previous show? I said LSU fans just need to understand: do they want to watch Brian Kelly, rip his teeth into a piece of Texas brisket in Houston, or if they want to see him get Duke's mayo spilled on, which is for Louisiana people to have Duke's mayo instead of Blue Plate, that's going to hurt big time.
Sacrilegious down there.
That's wild.
That's going to hurt big time. But it would follow suit with Brian Kelly and how they feel about him. All right, real quick, commercial break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about what we got going on. Ralph, I'll hit it. All natural BS. Man, that's what Will was feeling. He needed some of this to spray around him on Saturday, watching that game that happened out in College Station. It's bug spray that really, really works, providing effective chemical-free solutions for your home and garden. It's safe. It's effective. Make sure you get it out there tailgate season. Look, we're starting to get into the fall season, but as you know, out down here in the South, especially the deep South, we have a lot of bugs that still like to hang around, right? And honestly, hang around until Thanksgiving. So month of October rapidly approaching. Make sure that you check them out. Use code TCB10 for 10% off your order there today. Okay, so we've talked LSU, Ole Miss. I wanted to make sure I got all the props to Ole Miss, and I feel like we did a good job of that, to saying Ole Miss did really, really good. LSU's got a lot of things to figure out. But I do want to say this as we dive into this next game, and I want to spend some time here. Let's go Georgia, Alabama. Now, Will, you said Georgia has a serious problem. I think Georgia has a problem, but I don't know if I'm on the level with you of how serious it might be.
They got an Alabama problem.
Wherever you're going that. Well, they got an Alabama problem, that's for sure. Kirby said, look at other people's records, which is one of the first times we've seen him get kind of defensive about
You're 1-8.
Yeah.
People have better records against Alabama than 1-8.
You're also 0-2 versus DeBoer.
That's the huge problem.
Yep.
So what is that what you're saying is it's an Alabama problem?
Yeah. Their offensive line's a huge problem too.
They ran for 227 though.
Well, they should. They were playing a team worse than them, and they found a way to lose.
Yeah, but I don't know if the offensive line's terrible if you run for over 220 yards against them.
Their right tackle did get hurt in the game.
Ernest Green.
Yeah, I don't know how many plays he went out for, but he did get banged up a little bit. They had to put a freshman there for a little bit. So, I thought they ran the ball really well. I thought Chauncey Bowens really showed out as that he's a terrific running back for them going forward. I thought Gunner played fine. I didn't think he was horrendous. Doesn't help when your receiver drops the ball that's wide open in his hands for a touchdown. It's just put out there in front of you on a silver platter and you just completely just drop it. You're a true freshman, and probably the biggest moment in your entire career so up to this moment, you just failed. Honestly, that's just the best way to put it. I mean, I never played receiver. Obviously, that's guaranteed. I know I can't say out there that's an easy catch, but I mean, I've seen videos and interviews and clips and stuff from people in NFL practices. Like, I dropped the pass. He's like, yeah, that's your job. You don't drop passes, but you go out there and do it again the next play. I mean, that's your main job as a receiver. Catch that ball and run it in the end zone. I couldn't have said anything better. Stockton threw that ball on a dime. And I just thought he played a great game. I can't sit here and say Gunnar Stockton's the reason they lost this game. And I know no one here is saying that. I saw people were said, Stockton was not the quarterback that actually been played this game, which is terribly wrong. I thought
who should it be?
Well, there's a lot of moronic responses by Georgia fans to this.
I'm just going to be people are calling Kirby out saying he's can't coach his team anymore, and and I'm not, like I said, this is not going toward anybody I know. This is saying I saw on Twitter last night, and you start reading kind of under comments of tweets and stuff, and Kirby can't coach his team. Stockton shouldn't be our quarterback. Frazier's a better running back. It's just like this dumb comments, and it's just like if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm sitting there reading it like, why do I pull for this team with these idiotic fans?
It's clearly Mike Bobo's fault because they only scored 21 points.
Here's what I'll say about this game. Chauncey Bowens had a big game, had a big 43-yard run, ran for over 119 or around 119 yards, I believe, in this one. Averaged nearly 10 yards a carry. Georgia was penalized a little bit more. The biggest thing for me, and I don't even know if it comes down to on-the-field production, the two things, I guess I'll say. One is on the field, one's off the field. Alabama and Ty Simpson have figured something out, whatever it may be. Ty Simpson looked really good in this game, and 24 of 38, 236. Georgia's front seven this is one thing we've got to stop talking about. I mentioned this defense earlier. We've got to stop acting like 2021, 2022 Georgia defenses were just the normal. Like, that's not normal what they put out there. So what can you compare it to? Well, right now that front seven's not good enough. It's just not good enough. They didn't get enough pressure, had a low pressure rate against Alabama this week. You knew going into this game, you could not let Ty Simpson just sit back there and dice you up. And he did, and that's what he did. I'll say this too. Georgia's championship mentality has lost a little bit of its luster. It's not there. Some boneheaded penalties, the penalty where you're jumping on top of the pile that they had an issue with. That's just dumb. Like that seems, and I'm not sitting here to start Kirby Smart because that's what you're talking about, Ralph. Like I wouldn't have given life to the comments, but that's what you're talking about there about he's lost. We're not starting a campaign. He's lost the program. No. But that type of thing right there is where it's like that's not. You look and say that's not a Kirby Smart coach team or a Kirby Smart coach defense.
I want to make one comment before you finish, and I saw this is the best comment. I should have sent this to y'all. There's no Nakobe Dean to keep the guys in order. When you go back to that playoff game, when Nakobe Dean is starting linebacker with Channing oh God, what's his last name? Tittle, right? Channing Tittle was in their linebacker.
NFL.
I know, but I'm saying back when they played. Tittle makes a mistake on the play before.
Nakobe Dean bumps him.
Yeah. He tells him, you're better than this. Next play goes and makes a huge sack in the backfield. They don't have that right now on this defense, and it's kind of showing because a lot of these guys are making just stupid mental mistakes that cost them 15 yards, that cost them first downs, that cost them a positive play. That Ellis Robinson's a young, talented player. Makes a boneheaded decision to dive on top of the pile and makes contact with Jeremy Bernard, who doesn't even have the ball in his hands after the play. It's dumb.
Yeah. Alabama won this game because they were 12 of 19 on third down because Georgia couldn't put any pressure on the field. Ty Simpson. Yeah, I mean, you can say Alabama figured something out. It's keep your quarterback upright.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy when you don't allow pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I do like Jan Miller coming back this week, obviously, and I thought he was going to have a lot bigger game because I was just, going off of it, go to past games where Alabama running backs come back and play, and they always have some huge performance. But I thought he was just really, a necessity for this offense, just some run blocking or pass blocking for one, and just kind of getting the first down and was kind of a leader on this team. I was really impressed by Jan Miller's performance. I know it wasn't flashy in certain ways, but he's just the kind of guy you kind of rally behind that team.
Yeah, I mean, look, you said it well there, Will. We came into the season, Alabama had some horses on the offensive line. They get exposed. It looks really bad in week one. And then, you still have Caden Proctor who can catch passes, obviously, but you got a guy who's going to be a first-round pick. You've got an offensive line that plays well cohesively. Georgia didn't get pressured. They didn't get off the field. I mean, it's, I see someone saying the game was never in doubt. I mean, that's not true. That's
far from true.
Georgia, the game was, here's the thing, and people are going to hyper focus on the 1 4th down play, right? Like that's what people are going to do, and that's fine. That's whatever you want to do. The game was in doubt because if Georgia gets that, Georgia's is probably going to score a touchdown. Like you would think with the momentum of that, if they score a touchdown, the game's over. So the game was definitely in doubt for Alabama. Alabama just played a good game. Alabama's got a solid defense. I think they're a solid football team.
I felt like Georgia was the better team in the middle of the game, which is strange because usually if you're the better team in the middle of the game, everybody talks about the middle eight, you end up winning the game. Mm-hmm. But it came down to the fourth quarter. Georgia just didn't make the plays they needed to win the game. And this was typical Kalen DeBoer from what we've seen from him at Alabama. He gets a lead and then gets conservative and sits on it. 0 second half points from Alabama.
You want to read some of those? I'll read some of the stats real quick. You mentioned 0 second half points. They ran for an average of 2.7 yards per carry on 19 carries. They only had 84 passing yards, 135 total yards. They were 4 of 8 on third downs, which plays into it a little bit, right? They were 50%, which okay. They ran 34 plays. They only had 4 yards per play. But Will, You mentioned it. 17 minutes. If you're not going to score, you got to win time of possession in that second half. They did it 17-12 compared to Georgia's. So I leave this as here. Alabama, and we're going to round the show out with this after we talk real quick, but Alabama to me, even things out. I don't think they're the greatest team in college football. I also don't think they're the worst team in the SEC after losing to Florida State. There's got to be some balance. They went in, they won a tough road game against Georgia. Georgia still has everything in front of them. They're going to have – and the big thing about Georgia is they got the opportunities, right? We talked about this last year with them. You flip the schedule now. You've got the resume opportunities. You're going to get Ole Miss at home. You're going to get Texas at home. Like, you've got the ranked opportunities now. You're going to play Georgia Tech, who's a top 20 team. You've got the opportunities to get yourself into an at-large conversation if you don't make it to Atlanta.
I'm interested to see Georgia and Alabama play in a bigger game than a regular season game. Because I have a thought that Kirby Smart is doing the old Bill Belichick thing. Bill Belichick would let his former assistants, when they get head jobs, beat him in the regular season, and then he beats them when it counts. So they keep their job, lets them beat him in the regular season so they can keep him around because he knows how to beat them. I'm curious, because we've only seen DeBoer and Smart face off in the regular season.
I don't know if I'd say he's letting them win.
I mean, that's
maybe not showing the whole.
It's a lot more complex than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's saying you saying that's going to be the general casual reaction.
He's holding something. Like, I wonder if he knows the secret to beating him. He's thinking that they don't have to do whatever the secret is.
Go look at some of the games that Georgia played last year, and after that loss against Alabama, and they played two different games. Obviously, you're playing different teams, but the team just looks a lot different on those in some of those games, and you go to the Ole Miss game where they ultimately lose, and just the strangest game I ever watched by Georgia play, honestly. But you go to that Texas game last year where they had the controversial pass interference call that got turned, got taken off the field and then got called back again. Just I don't know. It's just I had this was my SEC championship game, by the way, was Georgia and Alabama. It's still a possibility.
It wouldn't shock me to see these two teams meet up again in Atlanta. Yeah. I mean,
when I want Vandy and Ole Miss in Atlanta.
A rivalry game we need to see. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right, Georgia, Alabama. Let's real quick talk about our friends over at Cajun Cousins Company. We got the sauce. Always got the sauce. It's fantastic. Make sure you're using it. You can check them out at CajunCousins.co.com. More stuff coming from them later on this year, but it's great lifestyle, fantastic stuff. We got an ad coming out this week. We partner with them some stuff, so make sure that you check that out on those social platforms there as well. All right, really quick. Well, I don't want to spend more than 3 minutes on this, okay? Like, let's just get in and get out. Oregon, Penn State. Oregon flies away with the win. Look at Ralph writing on the banners. I'll say this. This is I put this in the Discord last night. I think I have three top teams in college football, and I think it's Ohio State, Oregon, and Miami. That's mine. And Oregon, to me, is a team that is built to withstand games like this. We were able to see that. They didn't give it. Dante Moore, is a guy that, in my opinion, plays well. We'll kind of see, what he does the rest of the year. He's going to get up some Heisman lists because obviously a big part of this win. Oregon did a good job going in and getting a win on the road. Penn State has weapons, but yeah, gosh, I don't know. Will, what you got?
It's a fact now. It's not speculation, and James Franklin said it himself. They can't win the big games. It's kind of crazy, but Dan Lanning again getting a little conservative in the fourth quarter, letting Penn State get a couple touchdowns and take it to overtime. I mean, right now, I think Dante Moore rockets up to number one on the Heisman list. I mean, he went into a whiteout game, completed 74% of his passes.
3 tutties. Yeah.
Yep. That's Oregon. I think they're looking like a Final Four team. I think we should talk about football like we talk about basketball. Just Final Four. Just say Final Four.
DeCorian Moore, big game, 7 catches, nearly 100 yards. Good, really, really good football player.
Will Stein will be a head coach next year.
Could be. Ralph, anything on Oregon, Florida State, or Oregon, Penn State?
Yeah, I texted y'all early in the game. I said Penn State has 109 total yards of offense. That
God.
Allen Singleton had 14 carries for 32 yards at one point. Never in a Penn State home game should those two have 14 carries for 32 yards at any point in the game. They're two good running backs that should be a lot better. But I just give props to Dan Lanning. This he's a terrific head coach. He's not leaving Oregon for any other job in the entire world. He has everything he could want there. All the money in the world to back up the facilities, the environment. He's going to win a championship one day. I don't know if it's coming up sooner or later, but I did say to y'all, I think Dante Moore, his Heisman hopeful was this weekend. This was his Heisman game going to be. Everyone's going to watch it. And I think he performed exceptionally well. I was very impressed by him and some of the throws he made. Some of the, he took some shots in the game, but he got up and you can tell by his jersey at the end of the game he was banged up a little bit. But I did say in the Thursday night show, I said Penn State wants to win the game. You use Devontae Ross, and he had 2 touchdowns. So shout out to former Troy Trojan himself.
There you go, Ralph. Good job. Get in there. Make it about you.
Absolutely.
Big thing in this one, and it continues to be an issue for Penn State. Just not explosive. They're just not. They're. I mean, I know you just said that, Ralph, but like 3 passing plays of 15 yards or more, 3 rushing plays. I mean, yeah, like you had the 35-yard pass to Devontae Ross. You didn't have another one over 20 yards.
Well, the second touchdown pass was like a little flip pass to Devontae Ross, a little more like a rush than it was a pass. But those are considered passes in some way for some reason. So
it's just they're not explosive. I'm tired of hearing about Penn State, to be honest with you. Like I'll just say that.
When you play in the Big Ten, you have 3 teams. You play 2 of the good teams in the conference, and then you play a bunch of randoms and then the rest of the year. It's not impressive.
It's just I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Drew Aller has all the tools. That's what we keep being told over and over again.
At some point, you got to do it. At some point,
fair. Yeah, like at some point, you have to be able to capitalize on all this potential that you talk about, and they haven't done it yet. Yay, they beat SMU in the playoff last year. That you should have.
Yeah, you
like that's what you should have done
in December. It was cold.
Yeah. You took a bunch of boys from Texas and Louisiana and sent them up to middle of nowhere, wherever they are. So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who cares, dude? I don't know.
Happy Valley.
All right, real quick before we go, let's talk Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman's fired. Let's just kind of say this. He does a fantastic job. Honestly, one of the best post-game shows on YouTube that you will ever find. Trey Biddy of Hog Sports 24/7. He does a walk and talk where essentially he just lines up the selfie stick and talks and gives his feelings out there. Diehard Hogs guy and just does a fantastic job. And I was watching it last night. He's talking about it. It's like it's been past time for this to happen. I think Gavin just put that in the private chat. He probably saved his job. He definitely saved his job last year with the Tennessee win. Heck, you could make a argument that 2 years off seasons ago he should have lost his job after going 4-8. But overall, with Sam Pittman being fired at Arkansas, an SEC job has opened up. Bobby Petrino is the interim head coach, and now you sit in a situation to where I don't know what's going to happen at Arkansas the rest of the way. You have a good quarterback who had a bad game, but you just got embarrassed by Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is a solid football team. But just overall, man, I hate it because I think Sam Pittman's a good coach. This just has not happened. And Arkansas, Hunter Yurachek came out and said, we haven't done what we've needed to do to win in football. So, that's all you need to know. If I'm looking at this job, whether I'm Silverfield at Memphis, whether I'm Eric Morris at North Texas, whether I'm, and I don't think he picks the phone up seriously, Rhett Lashley at SMU, whoever I am, I'm making sure that there is some serious commitment to football. And if Arkansas is unwilling to do that and they want to just feed Calipari in basketball, That's fine. But Arkansas is in an interesting situation, fellas, because from a program perspective, your big three sports are all like hogging up the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball is huge there. Dave Van Horn has done a fantastic job, just hasn't won the big one yet. We mentioned Calipari, like even before him, like Musselman, like they pride themselves in basketball. They don't have a fertile recruiting base in Arkansas. They've got to try to go pick and choose in Texas and Louisiana, North Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama and stuff like that. I don't know where you go next with this job. You guys can speak what you think about Sam Pittman. If Sam Pittman wants, I think he's going to have an O-line job somewhere if he wants it. Maybe he wants to take a year off from the grind. But, Ralph, we'll start with you in this. I mean, just thoughts on Sam Pittman getting fired, and I just need to see a level of commitment before I'd take that job in Fayetteville.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that he's fired today. We all kind of saw it coming to an end. Obviously, they came out last year and said he was our coach going to the next season. But you kind of start seeing it was falling behind even before the season ended last year. He obviously lost the fans beginning of the year. They haven't really been committed to him. The Memphis loss last week is probably what should have done it in the first place, but you go into playing Notre Dame, you kind of want to keep your head coach there just in case they, Notre Dame goes out there and completely flops out there, which they didn't. Someone made a comment to Pittman after the game, was like, your record in one-score games. Or that was last week. It was like, he's like, it's a bad record in one-score games. And someone put on Twitter after that, it's like, well, he said he didn't want to have to be in a one-score game, so he went and got blown out instead at home. It was an embarrassing performance. But if you're a coach that gets that phone call, man, you have to have someone say there and go, we're going to be fully behind you. We're going to get these guys to stay. You'll have a quarterback next year. You'll have a pretty solid offensive line. You got to have somebody go out there and tell you this is going to happen, because I'm not taking a job that's going to be a full reset, especially in the SEC. And there's nothing harder than rebuilding a team. It's harder to rebuild a team in the SEC.
It's hard to rebuild a team at the bottom of the SEC.
Yeah, especially that.
The timing is kind of surprising, because it's almost like, what do you really gain from firing him now? Especially if you're Arkansas, when you're hurting for talent to begin with, and now the transfer portal's open for your entire team. Bryce is having some technical issues.
Hearing issues.
Yeah. So the timing kind of confuses me a little bit, but ultimately, no surprise. And Bobby Petrino being the interim head coach, not really a surprise there either. So per CBS, just some candidates they've thrown out: Rhett Lashley, Gus Malzahn, G.J. Kinney, Eric Morris, Ryan Silverfield, and Barry Odom, which would be interesting. Plus Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, well, Bobby Petrino said today, I think he would be interested in the head coaching job there.
Oh, Bobby Petrino has been back channeling that job, for before he got the offensive coordinator job.
Yeah, I'll say this: the first few names you said, Lashley's not taking this phone call without some kind of like commitment to him going forward. I think he'd be needed to take the call in the first place. But you're an Auburn fan, Will. You have more of Auburn background with Lashley being at Auburn a long time ago, and even with Malzahn. But I don't see either one of them taking this job, if I'm completely honest.
I see Gus Malzahn taking the job in a heartbeat. I think he would be running to Fayetteville if they offered him this job.
I think this is a job. When you look at the open jobs in college football, if you want money and you want to be in the SEC, you take it. If you want to win a national championship, you don't.
Which is why I think Gus Malzahn is
fair,
prime candidate. He would be realistically the best, most successful head coach Arkansas could hire, unless they hire Bobby Petrino, which I think would just be a disaster. And why go back down that road? I don't get it.
But they're known for doing that, i.e. Chad Morris.
Yes.
So
I think mean, if I'm Arkansas, Gus is number one on the list, and you almost like you pester him to come home to Arkansas. I mean, he's a coach that the fan base has wanted for over a decade.
Yeah.
I think it's Gus Malzahn's job to turn down. And Bryce, like you said, I don't know that. Of course, he's never going to say it. Of course, he wants to win a national championship, but at this point in his career, I don't think that's his number one goal. Whereas Rhett Lashley, his protege, is at the forefront of his mind. He made the playoff at SMU. G.J. Kinney, young coach, he's still in his 30s, I think.
Yeah.
For him, for Eric Morris, even for Ryan Silverfield, this is more on the side of the spectrum of career suicide because of the difficulty of this job and the perception of this job. Those are the hot names, and when you're a hot name like that, hot young name coach, I don't think you're really interested in Arkansas.
I'd be careful. I think that's a cautionary tale for G5 head coaches,
Yep.
or even really good P4 OCs. You know, we've seen that the past couple of years. I mean, it's not working out in Florida, but this is kind of what Billy Napier did, right? Like, he really waited a long time. You know, a lot of coaches have done that. Tony Elliott did that at Clemson. And I guess we can say, you know, it's paying off here and towards the end of what we thought was going to be his tenure there in Charlottesville. But
you saying Chad Morris, just real quick, you saying Chad Morris, that is a perfect example.
Yeah.
He's the perfect example for those guys.
Yeah, I just think that Arkansas is going to hold a lot of brand name value for a lot of people, but these agents, and then they're doing this, right? Like, it's just one of those things where, for me, I just would be very, very careful about signing this job. And I hate that because I really do think this, guys. I think Arkansas can be a place where you can win 6 to 8 games a year.
Yeah.
Get to 9 wins, and in a 16-team playoff, or even if you keep going, maybe you knock on the door of that playoff every 2 to 3 years.
I'm not sure people understand how difficult the Arkansas job is and how
there's no recruiting base.
Abnormal Bobby Petrino was. I mean, Bobby Petrino, at least I think in our lifetimes, is the best, most successful head coach they've had in nearly every aspect. I mean, he was keeping kids in state, kids that previously were going to Texas, going to LSU, going to Missouri, going to Oklahoma, going to Ole Miss. He was keeping them at Arkansas, keeping them in state, and that's part of the reason why they were so good.
Yeah. Did you start that comment?
I did.
Go ahead real quick, and then I've got a small thing I want to say before we get out of here.
So Dev saying, does Buster Faulkner any of these carousel convos, this and the eventual Billy Napier one? I have a hot take. I think Buster Faulkner is the next head coach at Georgia Tech after Brent Key. I think so. Brent Key's name is going to be thrown around for big time jobs. People have already thrown his name out there. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be in the best interest of Georgia Tech to promote Buster Faulkner. Because Buster Faulkner is a hot name. You know what you're getting with Buster Faulkner, similar with Brent Key. Why not go back to that well?
You saying Brent Key's going to get picked up this offseason?
If Brent Key moves
were to,
yes. I think
because Brent Key's name's going to be on a list once Billy Napier's fired.
I think Buster Faulkner would replace him. There's Auburn people throwing the name Brent Key out there. I don't see that in 100 million years. I don't. He played at Alabama. I don't see that.
Yeah.
His name was thrown out there after the Alabama lost to Florida State for Alabama. It was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, not that I wouldn't want Brent Key. I think he's a great head coach. He's the type of coach that I would want leading Auburn. But yeah. I don't see Auburn doing that.
I want to make sure that people understand what Will just said, because there's and Alex has already said it. He's not saying that Brent Key's going to leave. He's not saying. He said in a world where he did leave, you would like to see Georgia Tech continue what they have going on instead of having to go back out and start over.
Yes.
I agree with that. I think that It's a
Also-
mentality those people get on staff, and you got to keep it rolling.
It's not a downgrade to say that his name's getting thrown out there for head coaching jobs.
That's a good thing.
That's a great thing because it means you're doing something right at your program. Now,
Uh-oh.
what? What's wrong with saying that?
I like this comment.
Oh. I figured.
Well, sassy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Will there. I think if Brinke does somehow get poached in the all season, Faulkner would be the only option I think Tech would have, in house at least for now, to take over the head coaching job.
Gideon's too young.
Brian Bohannon.
I'm gonna say something.
That would
If
be.
he
I
got the
think
job over,
publicly,
Over
PR
Faulkner.
wise, I don't think that would go over too well.
nope.
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. Are
Right.
you looking for a CEO that understands how to run a program?
Mhm.
Sure. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, okay.
You can have
TJ, I'm
Auburn
gonna say this too, bro.
constitute-
There are plenty of coaches that weren't good enough to go get jobs and had one crazy year and then get poached. Scott Gaines says Hugh Freeze. All right, put a solo on me. I want the solo on me. We're gonna go down to this one. I got it. So, nope.
What?
I don't know, Bryce. This is what happens when you take over.
I wanted to end with this. The other guys can leave. This is just me and you talking. Little fireside chat. We've gone through a month of college football now, and the AP poll has been ripped to shreds. Power ratings, power rankings have been dubbed by us and other people as either the gospel or something from the depths of hell. And I think that when we look at college football and we try to decipher what we think we know, there's truly just too much information. There's too much analytical information out there. There's too much statistical data that I think allows people to feel like they know what's going on. And I think we got to realize we can't quite be reactionary to what we see each and every single week. It's fun. Embrace the chaos for sure. Embrace the field storm in Charlottesville. Embrace the fact that Ty Simpson has looked like a completely different quarterback. Well, he should, because he is talented. And players and coaches and teams are allowed to get better. And so when we pigeonhole these overarching general statements that, hey, you suck, you're not very good, or that team's terrible, what does that even really mean? We get into this mode of where we use general casual statements because the eye test is too biased or this statistical data is too hardcore. It's probably somewhere in the middle. And it's okay to say that maybe you don't know. This is what you think, maybe what could happen. But at the end of the day, it's a chaotic sport that depends on the consistency of 18 to 25-year-olds that is very hard to pinpoint. So I think college football is in a really, really fun spot. I think that in terms of the 12-game season, regular season that we watch, we can have issues with things outside of that, realignment, playoff, and whatever you want. We can talk about that. But in terms of the season that we sit here and look at, I think that we're in a really, really fun spot. It's chaotic. It's fun. It's really hard to pinpoint what's going to happen. There is parity across college football. There are some things that we have to hold on to as pillars of what we think and we see and we know, of course. But the overreactions after week one, man, having the hot take, having the overarching, this is the theme. It's 1 week. It's been 1 month. We still have at least 2 more months of this in the regular season. So we embrace the chaos. Let's have a little bit of fun. So it is, it's fun. I love it. And college football is a great time. So we appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hang out with us in the Discord, and click that link down there below. We'll be live tomorrow night, Georgia Tech fans, talking about the monstrosity that happened up at Wake Forest and that and more. So thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. I'm going to go eat some dinner. See you later.
coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.